What if charging more and raising your price actually made it easier to sell your coaching? It sounds backwards, right? Lowering your price seems like the logical, reasonable thing to do if you want to get more clients in the door. What it's actually doing is losing you money, losing authority, and gaining you more Walmart clients. In this video, I'm going to show you why lowering your prices is actually sabotaging your business and it's scaring away some of your best potential clients. I'll explain the sales strategy behind raising your price and how you can even prep your audience mentally to be excited about giving you a lot of money. I'm Chris. I have a 7-figure coaching business. I sold to the brokest industry ever, broke musicians. If I can be successful doing that to them, you can be successful in your industry too. I'm just going to take a random stab in the dark. I'm guessing that you're afraid to raise your price, even though you don't feel like you're charging enough. But everyone that you've spoken to up until this point has told you, I can't afford it. So now you have this illusion in your mind that the entire market isn't willing to pay you what you're truly worth. You just swallow the pill, you charge less than you know you're worth, and you just accept every client that comes your way. Here's the cold, hard truth. Lowering your price doesn't attract more clients that are gonna buy. It attracts more price shoppers. You see, when people who are ready to pay for coaching, they don't do it because it's cheap. They do it because they're trying to solve a costly problem that they couldn't figure out on their own. You're just discouraged because all the price shoppers have told you it's too expensive. The people who are truly willing to pay you were never expecting that it was cheap. When you underprice yourself, it shows that you don't truly understand the value of what you deliver. So that makes your potential clients unsure as well. If you had a $300,000 Lamborghini, would you ever sell it for $10,000? No, because you know its true value. And when it's underpriced, it throws up red flags. When there's an obvious disconnect between what you promise and what the price you ask for is, it creates uncertainty and doubt. They start thinking in their minds, it's too good to be true. If I handed you this Rolex right here and was like, you can have this for $500. What's your immediate next thought? Is it fake? Now you start looking for flaws and you look for every negative thing to justify in your mind that there's something wrong with it. It's gotta be fake. So they're doing the same thing. I'm gonna give you another example. If you're a relationship coach and you say, I can help you fix your marriage with this $7 ebook, someone who's going through a divorce, about to lose half their net worth, the love of their life, is not gonna believe you that a $7 ebook is gonna fix their problem because the problem is so big, they don't expect a cheap fix. On top of that, here's a bonus banger for you too. The cheap prices you charge are actually hurting your clients' results. When you charge them less, on the surface, it feels like it's doing them a favor, like you're giving them a homie hookup. But charging them less is actually a disservice disguised as a favor. I remember my friend needing help with music production, mixing, wanted to get her tracks right. That's what I taught music producers how to do. So I had this program that people paid me $8,000 for month after month. I decided, hey, we're friends. I'll give it to you for free. Guess what happened? They never created a login. They never got in. They never got the benefit of it. Their music still sounds the same. They still have the same problems because they didn't put any skin in the game. Therefore, they didn't value the program as much as if somebody paid me $8,000 for it. We as humans just don't value things when we didn't sacrifice anything for it. You could give something for free to somebody and charge them a lot of money, and those two people are going to treat it very differently, but it's the same item. And the funny thing is, people don't always need more information. There's so much out there on YouTube, on the internet, they could find it anywhere. Sometimes they already know what to do. You know, if you want to lose weight, you just eat less, eat healthy, work out. Yet most of America is still obese. It's not a lack of information, it's a lack of execution on the information that they already have. Russell Brunson says this amazing thing. The more they pay attention. The more your client puts in, the more they're willing to do the things that they've been procrastinating on. Because it's hard to procrastinate when your back is up against a wall. It doesn't seem like it, but this is a true place of power. There's no better motivation than desperation. So you have to allow your clients the opportunity to be in that place of power, and that's by making them put skin in the game. That's by charging them more, a price they can't ignore. So you have to challenge them, otherwise they're gonna continue to procrastinate, they won't truly commit to themselves, therefore they're not gonna see the results they want, and all that does is hurts them more. But how do you actually raise your price without scaring people off? The next part is extremely vital if you don't want your business to collapse. So let's dive into the sales strategy of how to actually do this, but first thing, please subscribe if this has been helpful so far. There's a right way to raise your prices and there's a wrong way that will just kill all of your conversions. What you got to do is stop selling your products, your features, and your achievements. The only reason why somebody buys from you is because they think that you can help them get a result that makes their life better. Notice I said their and not your. Most coaches are focused on selling their thing and why they're so great, but your client doesn't care about that at the end of the day. They're in it for them, you gotta be in it for them as well. Because if they want what they want and you're selling what you want, there's a disconnect. They're not gonna buy. So don't focus on selling things like course, group coaching, one-on-one, 18 hours of modules, 56 million years of video content. You know what I mean? Those things aren't the things they truly want. Deliverables aren't that valuable in their mind. It just sounds like work that's standing between where they are and the result that they want. The more that you talk about your features, your course, your one-on-one, your group coaching, time with you, all that does is plants and waters the chance to have more excuses and more objections to why they can't do it. I don't have the time to sit down for this. I can't make it to those one-on-ones. And honestly, you only think that this is what they care about because this is what you've put their focus on. People will always focus on what we draw their attention to. Like, do you see my left hand? See how like there's like weird lines on my left hand, and you know how my left hand is? I'm putting all your attention on my left hand, but my right hand was there the whole time. That's what you're doing, is you're distracting them with your features. Now they ignore the real reason why they wanted to do this in the first place, which is what's more valuable to them. And they're so hyper focused on the features and trying to figure out in their mind if this is actually worth it to them. When this isn't what they want, this is what they want. Instead, when you sell, focus on pointing out the current problems, the dream result that they actually want, and the cost of inaction and changing nothing about their current circumstance. What is that costing them now? What's gonna happen if they continue to do the same thing? What problem will snowball and get bigger? The sale only happens when they realize your solution is cheap in comparison to the potential result of what they get. To make life even easier for you, there's strategies that you could use to make your potential clients happy to pay you a higher price. Let's talk about priming their expectations and subtly hinting towards a big price. One of the biggest killer in sales is when your client has the wrong expectation. If you charge $10,000, but in all of your content, you're talking about sales, discounts, $20 this, $100 this, when you drop that heavy 10K on them, it's gonna come out of nowhere because all of the context that you've led up into this point has been cheap. Instead, in your sales pages, your content, your ads, everything you do, you should be price anchoring numbers that are higher than what you charge. And you can do this through all the stories that you tell in your content. And the best stories are always breaking current beliefs that are holding them back. Focus on pricing beliefs. Look, I tell stories about how I've invested $300,000 in the last couple of years just on coaches alone. I made $200,000 the first year that I hired a coach. I paid him $20,000. I'm anchoring all these bigger numbers and letting them just stew and marinate in those giant abstract numbers. When they're ready to have a sales conversation with me and I tell them what the price is and it's less than everything I've been talking about, they're like, oh, what a relief. The entire time they're watching any of your content, in the back of their mind, they're trying to figure out how much does this person charge? So when you keep throwing these big numbers at them, they're like mentally preparing themselves. Okay, this might be this huge price. It might be this huge price. It might be this massive price. And when it's lower than what they thought, they're like, whoa, I was preparing for a bigger number. This is a massive relief. Even if it is a giant number, you've now mentally prepared them that was an even bigger number. If you do the opposite, guess what's gonna happen? If you keep talking about $10 things, $100 things, and then you drop something that's $10,000 on them, they're gonna have the opposite effect. They're gonna be like, I thought it was gonna be $100. I was clearly mistaken. I'm going to leave now. So you wanna anchor a larger price, but you wanna do it subtly through the stories that you tell. And it helps prime them in a specific mindset where these crazy big numbers just seem normal now. But just make sure you're telling true stories. If you can, make it quantifiable as well. I tell stories like this, like when I hired my first coach. I spent 10 years trying to figure out how to build my own business. And in that 10 years, I didn't make any money. I just fell on my face, tried to get back up, fell on my face again, fell on my face again. For 10 years straight, I finally decided I needed to get a coach or get some help. I had $1,000 in the bank and he was like, it's 10,000. I was like, oh my God. But then I did it anyways. And the first year that I hired him, he made me $200,000. I just look back and think, if I would have hired him 10 years instead of trying by myself, that's minimum $200,000 times 10 years. That's $2 million that I missed out on because I was stubborn and I was being cheap and trying to save money. But I ended up losing $2 million. So that displays the cost of inaction, but it also displays what I lost. And that number is much more than what I charge. Even though I charge a lot, it seems minuscule in compared to the number that I give out. Here's a challenge for you. Look at your offer, look at your pricing. When you tell your prospects your price, does it make them sweat? Do you talk about selling features? This is the course. This is how many modules in there. This is how many video hours. This is how many hours of one-on-one you get with me. Is that what you talk about? Or do you talk about the end result? What their life looks like when they're done working with you? And do you ever focus on talking about cost of inaction? If you get people that say, I need to think about it, it's because we haven't covered what it's costing them already, what they're paying now to not have your solution. Look, if you have a coaching business and you feel like you've just been struggling to get this right, you know you're worth more, you could get more clients, make more money, you just need a little assistance, I'll leave a link below so that you can book a call with me and see if I can help you through all of it. But the funny part is there's also a problem on the other side. If you get too many clients, you now have no time. Check out this video to learn how to build a business model that gets your clients better results, but also gives you your freedom back, and you're not constantly trading time with one-on-ones. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.